I make over $10,000 every month as a trader using just one insanely simple trading strategy. And in this video, I'm gonna break down and show you every single step of the custom strategy from start to finish, so that way you can finally have a strategy that will take the guesswork out of trading entirely. This is the exact strategy that I'm using to catch massive moves like this and be able to make over $1,000 every single day as a trader. And this strategy is based on the Fibonacci retracement. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna grab our Fib tool and drag this all the way out. This looks very, very confusing, right? There's so many numbers. What I want to do is basically show you a custom setup from start to finish that completely changes the way that the Fib looks. I want you to be able to see everything and understand everything from start to finish. So I want to make this super, super simple for you guys. Come over to your settings, double click the Fib here, and we're going to set up our custom Fibonacci retracement setup for this strategy. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all of these numbers here on the side and get rid of all of these numbers. Leave 0 and 1. All right, now what we need to do is we need to add a couple of numbers here. The 618, we need to add the 0.5, and we need to add the 0.65. So what we'll do is we'll add this number right here, and we'll add this as the 0.65. Okay, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna make the 65 and the 618 yellow. Make both of them yellow. And now you'll have 2 yellows and 1 green. Now that we did that, we want to take off the trend line up here at the top, and we want to go down over to this background area here and turn off the background. Now you'll see we'll have one very, very simple looking line here. You'll see this area and this area. So 0.5, 6.5, and 6.18. Those are the only things that you should see on your chart. So the way that the Fibonacci retracement works is this 50% area and this 61.8 and 65% area are areas where we are most likely to retrace off of in the market. So as you can see, price is most likely going to come up here and reverse off the 50%, or it'll come up to the 61.8% and reject off of that, right? So these are the two most likely areas for us to reject off of whenever your asset price comes up to it. And it goes the same for the downside direction as well. You're either going to bounce here and continue up, or you're going to bounce off of this area and continue up. Those are the most likely things to happen whenever we get to one of these areas. Now, we have 3 main areas: the 50%, the 61.8%, and the 65%. These 2 areas together, the reason why we made them both yellow is because this is going to be called your golden pocket. This is the area where you're going to see the largest amount of reversals, and this is going to be the spot where we are most likely to take our trades. All right, so now you have the custom setup of the actual Fibonacci retracement tool that I use, but we need to actually have an understanding of how to use the tool and be able to actually get a solid entry and exit every single time. I want to take the guesswork entirely out for you on this, right? So here's how you use the Fibonacci retracement area, okay? What we're going to do, so here's how you use the Fibonacci retracement tool correctly. So what we're going to do here is we're going to draw ourselves a trend. This only works in trending markets, guys. I, no matter what, want to make sure that we are using this when we are in trend. So it can be uptrend, it can be downtrend, it doesn't matter. As you can see, I want to be seeing something like this, no matter what. And so if you don't know how trend works, right, essentially what we need to find out is where the higher highs and the higher lows are. If we're consistently making new highs, then that is where I will start to catch myself an entry. But for example, if we're seeing something like this, where we're kind of just chopping sideways for a while, we're seeing that recently every single day in this new market where we are chopping around 24/7. We don't have new highs or new lows being created. So we can't really identify this as a trend. But when we have smooth trend, that's when this strategy is the absolute best. When we are in this trend, the first thing that we want to look for when it comes to using the Fibonacci retracement strategy is going to be to find our range. We need to find a range of the lows and the highs to be able to find exactly where we're most likely to come back to start retracing, right? So we're looking to figure out if we can catch these areas and then be able to catch the move to continue higher. That's what I'm looking for on any given day. So what I want to do is I want to grab the Fibonacci retracement tool and I want to find my range. So a range is essentially going to be the top and the bottom of a move. So when we're in trend here, we find our low and we find our high. This is going to be the area where we see our range, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the Fibonacci retracement tool and we're going to go from the left to the right. Always from the left to the right. Never go from right to left. So you go from the low here to the top of that high. Now what you should see is when we're coming back down, we're going to see price action most likely come to either the 50% and continue higher, or it's going to go down to the 61.8% and continue higher, right? So this is how we start to figure out exactly where our trend is. So let's zoom in here. This is what most likely price action is going to do. It's going to reverse all the way back down to here and continue going higher, or we're going to see this massive move continue. It's going to reverse all the way down to the 61.8% and then continue higher, right? We either want to see a move off the golden pocket or the 50%. Now let's do the same thing for the downside. As you see here, we'll have this massive range, right? This massive range gets created. We need to see when we're going to see a continuation to the downside. So what we're most likely going to do is we're going to see either a continuation here to continue down, or we're going to have this big move and we're going to see a continuation here to make that downside move. So we need to find exactly when we end up at this 50% or this golden pocket here. So just to show you as an example, this is today on QQQ. As you can see, we have this high here and this low here created. So what we'll do is we'll go to our Fibonacci retracement tool. This is on the 5-minute time frame. By the way, you can use any time frame that you want when it comes to these fibs, because at the end of the day, this is all around human psychology, right? Where are people buying and where are people selling? So it doesn't matter what time frame you're using this on, but for today, we're going to use the 5-minute. We're going to go from the top of this wick left to right all the way down to the bottom of this wick. And as you can see, top to bottom move, where do we end up reversing? Perfectly right here at the golden pocket. That is what you're going to see pretty much every single day when it comes to the market. Start back testing this, start doing this on your own, and you're going to see some amazing results. But there's a little bit more that we have to go in depth on. How do we know when to enter, when to exit, and to have a perfect plan every single day so that way, no matter what, you know exactly what's happening? Well, what we need to pay attention to is what is price action doing once it reaches our golden pocket or once it reaches the 50%, right? So we know for a fact that at this area, we're not rejecting, right? Look at all that massive amount of volume. The one thing I don't do is I don't enter as soon as I see a break in one of these things. Instead, I want to see price action confirm my direction before I enter these moves. So for example, I'm not going to enter downside here because we're literally blasting straight through this 50%. There's no reason for me to do that. Instead, I want to pay attention and be very careful on what my next move is. So as you can see, this next candle comes out and immediately rejects this 50% and immediately rejects this golden pocket with strength. That shows that it wants downside, right? We see a ton of momentum off of this golden pocket. Will I enter immediately though, right? Do I enter just right here? No. You can, and it is going to be pretty risky of a decision. So what I like to find out is, are we going to break this 50% and get some sort of retest and continuation here, right? So then once we break these lows, I'm interested in continuing. My stop loss for this, you can have two types of stop losses, one above the 50% and one above the golden pocket. You can probably guess why, right? Because at the end of the day, it all depends on personal risk. So how much do you want to be risking? Do you want to risk over the 50% and maybe risk a smaller loss? Or do you want to risk a larger loss but have a larger chance to be right? Right? So at the end of the day, that's the main thing that I'm paying attention to. Now for this position, my target is going to be lows. That's my very first target. I want to target lows and make sure that this goes straight my way. As you can see here, this is directly a 2-to-1 risk to reward trade. So this is perfect alongside with my overall strategy. So as you can see, we come up and we continue straight off the 50% for a massive, massive trade. And you can go ahead and draw this a little bit lower, and this becomes larger than a 3-to-1 trade. So my first target down here is down at these lows, and then you can hold the rest for as long as you want. This thing ends up continuing down for a very, very long time. I actually don't know how big this trade gets, but it's pretty massive, right? I would hold this all the way until we end up changing direction, which is right here. So you can see that with just this one position alone, it is so insanely powerful. But I have something else that I got to show you. This doesn't just work for the downside. It works for any trending market. So as you can see, we are creating new highs and lows here. So we're creating new higher high here, and another new higher high here. So you know that you're in an uptrend. What we can do is we can find the top and bottom of our range. So here's the bottom and here's the top of our range. What we'll do then is go from left to right. So left all the way to the top of this wick here, and very, very simple. And now all we have to do is wait. All you have to do is wait for price to come down to either the 50% or the 61.8%. Now, personally for me, price action didn't confirm here that it's going to push straight back up, and so I probably wouldn't have entered this. Instead, I want to wait to see if price action can actually confirm exactly what I want. So here, I'm starting to see some really, really nice ideas for a long. as you can see, we're pushing up to this golden pocket here. So that's the first thing that happens. Next, we need to see price action confirm that I want to continue higher. The way that I would do that is to see, do we, one, have a strong momentum candle off of this golden pocket, and two, do we break highs? If we break highs, then I can most likely get an entry right here. Stop loss below the 50 at this point because this becomes a really large loss. So I'll probably put stop loss below the 50. And then I'll put my target, my first target, as the high of day. Second target can go at order blocks or at specific areas at key levels, right? So as you can see here, we go down a little bit further. So we don't have that entry yet. We can now put our entry above this 50% because of the fact that we now have a continuation here. So we can have a continuation a little bit lower now, which is quite nice. So what we'll do now is see what happens on this next candle. This next candle has a beautiful move over both of the entry points, right? So we have our entry point here or your entry point here. Doesn't really matter how risky you were, right? Stop losses go beneath that previous low. And now we can set our target for high of day. So our target goes for high of day, and we'll see what happens here. We knock high of day, and then we just continue even further up for the end of the day. Insanely powerful trading strategy. This thing has so much value to it. There's one more tricky entry that you can do with the Fibonacci, and so it'll look like this. For example, we can see that we have our highs and our lows in this range. So we'll grab the Fibonacci. I'm not going to explain it super hard anymore because I know you guys already know it. So high, low, left to right, draw the Fibonacci. You can see our range there. So now what I would like to do is see a break in this 61.8%, a retest, and a continuation. Those of you who have been following me for a while or have watched all my YouTube videos, you know I love break and retest trades because they're so high profitability. They have such a high possibility of actually working. So what I want to see off of this break, retest, and continuation is a break in highs. If I can see a break in highs, then I will guaranteed be in this position. So as you can see, first candle comes up. We see a break. Awesome. Next candle comes down to retest. If we come up to break this high, I'm in on a position. We don't do that on this candle. So on this candle, if we come up to break that high, then I'm in. And so on the next candle, we break this high. This is where my entry would be. Stop loss for me will go on the other side of the 61.8%. And this trade ends up being a colossal trade to the upside, just an absolutely massive continuation. So this is a really, really, really good, easy way to use this strategy. A break and retest to the upside is super, super strong. And so this is the exact way that I take positions like this with my mentorship students that go over 250% on SPY. What we end up doing is we see a break in the Fibonacci, a retest in the Fibonacci, and then a continuation. We break those lows to continue to the downside. It is the same exact thing every single day. It's the most systematic strategy in the world. But I know that some of you might be struggling. You've been trying to learn these strategies for a minute. They don't make any sense. There's a million different YouTube videos everywhere. I completely understand. That's why I take 5 to 10 traders completely one-on-one every single month and teach them everything that they need to know to actually start to scale their trading portfolio. So no more guesswork, no more failing, no more feeling like you are completely lost and having no idea what to do in the market. I've been doing this for 6 years. I've taught over 400 students, a bunch of students absolutely crushing it here on a daily basis. We've got students making $4,000 a day, $5,000 a day, all kinds of insane results. So if this is something that you're interested in and you want to work with me one-on-one, I would love to take you. So go down into the description, click on the first link that says Simply Options Academy and apply to join the mentorship program. This one-on-one work has changed a lot of lives, so I'm excited to see you in there as well. Go apply down below. But now that we're at the end of this video, here is a video on the screen that's popping up right now that combines another strategy along with the Fibonacci retracement. So it literally pairs two strategies together and you will absolutely crush if you have both of these things together. So, so go watch this. It's popping up on the screen right now. I'm giving you time to watch it. And thank you guys for 30,000 subscribers. I love y'all. I'll see you guys all later. Adios, everybody. Goodbye.